Hi everyone, welcome to Games of the Week for this month, for April 2017. So we'll kick off with new videos that have been on the channel in the last month. So last thing we had was Knock Mal for the last video. So we've had Unlock, which is escape room adventures in a deck of cards. That was nice, I like that, you can check that out. There's a little tutorial playthrough as well. There was Millennium Blades set rotation that adds tons of cards to Millennium Blades. It also adds a cooperative mode where you all fight against a boss, and I do a solo playthrough of that. There's the Golden Sales, which was a nice card drafting game about trying to get all these goods. All the cards have all the goods types on them, and you kind of define them as the game goes along. Exit the Game, which is another escape room game from Cosmos and designed by Inka and Marcus Brand. That is, it's quite different from Unlock, but it's trying to capture that feel of an escape room. And I think the Exit, the Abandoned Cabin has been my favourite escape room board game that I've played so far. There was Roundhouse. That's a kind of rondel game where there's two rondels inside of each other and your workers can go across them doing all these kinds of actions, and then you're trying to worship in the temple, get people off to foreign merchants and things, all sorts of things going on in there. There was Karuba, which is a lighter tile laying game where we are trying to direct our Indiana Joneses to the various temples. It's one of those games where one person will have a shuffled deck, in this case it's just a pile of tiles, but one person will have a shuffled deck of tiles and will say number 23, and then everybody finds number 23, and you can all do different things with it, but it's one of those types of games. Clank is a deck builder where we are also moving pieces on a board. We are trying to steal artifacts from a dragon in a dungeon, and we need to try and buy cards and companions and things and try and leverage our abilities the best we can to get out alive, basically, before the dragon kills us all. Paolo is a game all about delivering pizzas. We run rival pizza places and we are trying to work out the customers that we can deliver to, take actions on this nice grid, bid for delivery tiles so we can deliver more pizzas to more people. And then most recently, today in fact, although yesterday when this goes up, Clans of Caledonia, which is an economic game where we are expanding across Scotland trying to put out wheat farms, dairy farms, fields with sheep and cows, all sorts of things to try and make goods, process goods, trade them, buy them, sell them, export them to get more points. And there's a lot going on in it, and it's a really, really interesting game. It's on Kickstarter right now, and I did a solo playthrough of it, and that brings us right up to date. So next we'll have anticipated games, so things I've noticed that are coming up. A lot of them I've noticed because I've been working on a geek list that's gone up now. I'll put a link maybe on the screen if annotations are still there, maybe in the description. There's a geek list that I've done of everyone that's gotten back to me that's exhibiting at the UK Games Expo with the stuff that they're going to have there, but there's all sorts of stuff on here. So first off, we've got Rick and Morty, Close Rick Counters of the Rick Kind deck building game, which, I love Rick and Morty. I've got Tiny Rick right here, and I love deck builders, but I have heard that this Cerberus engine, anything I've ever seen about that has kind of dismissed it or been negative about it. I've not played anything myself, so I'm still willing to give it a try, and I haven't really looked into why people don't like it. But yeah, I'd like to try Rick and Morty deck builder, basically. But on a similar note, Rick and Morty Anatomy Park, the game, which is a tile laying game, again based on a certain episode, where we are, building Anatomy Park. And if you've seen the show, you'll know what the episode is about. Doesn't really say much about either game at the moment, but I would like to try both. The previous ones, I can't remember what they were called. There was definitely a Meeseeks box, and there was some kind of party game. I think they needed more players, or I dismissed them for some reason, even though I'd really like a Meeseeks box. But anyway, yeah, two Rick and Morty games that look like I'll be able to play them and enjoy them, hopefully. Next up is Whistle Stop, and I don't tend to like pick up and deliver games a lot of the time, but it's on here because I really like Bezier games and the things they tend to put out, so if I'm going to like a pick up and deliver game, it may be from them, so time will tell when we find out more about Whistle Stop. Next up is Kitchen Rush, which is coming from Artipia. It's going to be available for demo, hopefully, at the UK Games Expo. It's from the designer of Redacted and Anachrony and Days of Ire and more things beside that. apologies for the pronunciation in advance, David Turczi. And he's teaming up with Artipia for a real-time cooking game where we are chefs cooperating to try and run a hectic kitchen in real time, but our workers are 30-second hourglasses, so we will be, frantically trying to place them on things. But once someone's put something there, you need to wait until the time's ran out in the sand timer to be able to move it onto something else. And I think there was a pirate game that was doing a similar thing with hourglasses and things. I'm not sure if it's related to that, but anyway, regardless of that, really tend to like cooperative games, really like kitchen and cooking themes, and definitely interested in Kitchen Rush. Next is Barenpark from Lookout Games and designed by Phil Walker Harding, who did Cacao and Sushi Go, and it's illustrated by Clemens Franz, and we are laying tiles to build a park for bears. That's about as much as I know about that at the moment, but quite interested in that. That's going to be at the UK Games Expo as well. Next is Helionox Deluxe Edition, which I remember from, is it a year or maybe more ago, when Dorado did a run-through of the base game Helionox, and it looked like a really interesting deck builder, but I never found a copy, and when I looked recently, it's really, really hard to get. So luckily, there's a Kickstarter coming in a few months' time, in June, where you'll be able to get the game again, but now it's got co-op and solo modes, it's got a board, and it's got, I'd imagine, a ton of new cards in it. It's got an expansion built in. So, and I've been asked to do a preview for that, so look out for that when the Kickstarter launches in June. Next is Caverna, Cave versus Cave, and this is a two-player only version of Caverna. And if you have heard of Agricola, All Creatures Big and Small, which is the two-player only version of Agricola, then I imagine it'll have a similar, not a similar theme, but a similar feel to that, where all creatures big and small tended to focus on just the raising animals part of Agricola. This will focus on a smaller part of Caverna. Next we have El Dorado, which is from Rainer Knizia, and it's a deck building race game. So yeah, I really like deck building games, as I mentioned before. Rachel really, really loves race games and tends to win them most of the time. So I'll be expecting to lose, but really interested to try. And apparently it's in German only at the moment. An English version is coming at some point, but there are a couple of places that are starting to stock the German version in the UK. Next is Sentient, and this is on here because it's from Renegade Games, who seem to publish a ton of great games. It's a programming game, and I like those. Mechs vs. Minion was one of my favourite games of last year. And this is from J. Alex Caverna, who designed Gold West, which I really, really, really enjoyed. I got that last year. And he designed World's Fair 1893, which people seem to like. I see it posted a lot. I see a lot posted about it. I did get a copy in a trade, and I haven't played it yet, but I promise I will get around to it soon. Next is Medical Frontier from Big Fun Games. This is where we are competing medical researchers trying to develop medicines and get them out into the public, and you have to make sure they're safe for everybody, of course, before you do it. But yeah, really like the theme. Tend to just like hospitals. I can't remember if I mentioned Dice Hospital. That's one that's coming from the people that made Lab Wars and Cauldron Master. I think it may just be how much I played Theme Hospital as a kid. That why I really like this. I really want this as a theme in board games. I've got Clinic. Oh, it's not on the screen, it's in the shelf above. But take my word for it that Clinic's there. Anyway, that was Medical Frontier I was supposed to be talking about. And finally, there is Paperback Expansion, which I notice is available on the Hardback Kickstarter, which is running right now. Hardback is another word game, but it's got quite a few differences from Paperback. It's from the same designer. And Paperback Expansion is something that you can add to your pledge there. It will be available separately later, but it's a game, it's an expansion that adds things like 3-letter cards that will really shake things up, cards that have a letter and then a question mark to signify a wild, so you can still have wilds in your word and not have to give up earning money. There are cards with powers that let you gain cards that other players have trashed and put in the trash pile. A lot of new things, and I really, really like Paperback. We played it last week for the first time in a long, long time, and I really, really, really enjoy it. So more for it is great. So finally, just a couple of things about the channel. If all goes to plan and this gets uploaded on Wednesday, then tomorrow, the 27th, is the first anniversary of the channel. It's been a whole year already. A year since I'd just recently been to Poundland and found a little tripod that you could put your phone into, and that tripod was then stacked onto a couple of boxes to try and fit as much into the frame as possible. And I did a playthrough of Castles of Burgundy, the card game. That's the very first one. And yeah, it's come a long way since then. Surprisingly, I can't believe it's been a year already. But back when I could film videos in one take as well without huge gaps. I haven't gone back and watched those playthroughs for about a year, so I can't really comment on if the quality's improved or not. I would hope it has over a year of doing it, but you never know. So yeah, 1 year anniversary. Great things. We just passed 3,000 subscribers the other day on the 23rd, I think that happened. So that's really great as well. I think it was around Christmas time, around the New Year time, where it hit 2,000. So yeah, it's still going strong, and really, really pleased with that. Thanks to everyone who wants to see more and hang around and, join this community. But yeah, on to bigger and better things, hopefully. It's been a fantastic first year. I would never have expected to have had videos watched by that many people, or have that many subscribers, or have gone to Essen, or have been sent anything by any company. And all that kind of surprised me and continues to surprise me, and let's see what will happen next year. Well, this year now. But anyway. Oh, and before I forget, there is an extra video going up tomorrow that I would say it's a treat for you, but it may not be. It's definitely been a treat from me anyway, so we'll see how anyone else enjoys that. But look out for that on Thursday the 27th, when this channel will have been around for a whole year. So the last thing I want to talk about, and it may be a foolish topic to bring up, I'm not sure, is fundraising. And there's never been any fundraising on this channel. There's never been adverts, never been any kind of campaign or donating or anything like that. I've never taken money for doing videos or making things for games or anything like that. But I don't know if people may have noticed that since the Essen games started to run out, and I think most of them have been done now. I think almost everything from Essen that I picked up at Essen anyway has been filmed and sorted out. But there are big games since then, like Terraforming Mars. I missed out at Essen, but I was hoping to get it when the second printing came out, or Sherlock Holmes, the new consulting detective, or Role Player, for example. They're all, things that I really wanted to cover, but they're very, very expensive. And my budget definitely since last year, or even since a few months ago, since, just after Essen, my budget for games has drastically dropped, which, is okay, because there's plenty to be getting on with, and there's still a few that I haven't tried on. I'm pointing at things that you can't see, but there's still a few I haven't tried, and there are games that I love here. Everything that I've kept, I've really enjoyed, and so I've got enough to be going on with. I've got a lot of games that I had from way before the channel started that I've never done videos for, but I do know that a lot of people, myself included, when I watch people's videos, I want to see what's latest and greatest, and I want to see all of the new stuff to decide whether I should look into it myself. So I would like to be able to keep at the rate that I was at least, or maybe even increase that rate for new games, and to be able to get people involved in what is covered on the channel as well. So it's still kind of preliminary, but yeah, I would like to hear your thoughts on various fundraising things, whether you are a viewer or you create content yourself. There seems to be, for everyone that says that one platform is great, then there are plenty of people that are saying that that is not the way to go. And I kind of wonder as well, because I see a lot of people that don't do one for years, and is it too soon to think about one? But then I see people that have been doing it for less than a year that do quite successful Kickstarters as well. And it wouldn't be some kind of huge lofty goal that I would be going for. But yeah, so let me know your thoughts about it. The thing that I was thinking about is Kickstarter seems to be a better way of doing it than Patreon. Patreon seems like a quite a smaller thing, but you don't really offer rewards or anything on Patreon. You just kind of commit to it, but some people don't like the commitment of recurring payments, and Kickstarter is just a one-off. But then if people miss the Kickstarter, then they can't back, whereas Patreon, it's at any time. You know, I'm sure a lot of people know all this. But yeah, the one downside of doing a Kickstarter that I could think of for me is that usually people get in touch with companies and arrange for promos and things, and I don't really want to do that. No offense to people that do that, you know, I've backed Kickstarters and had promos and things, but I don't want to try that myself. Not that I'm even assuming that I could get anybody to send me a promo, but also, yeah, that would be the main issue of what would you really put as a reward for Kickstarter. You know, I can put the reward is, you know, the videos keep getting made and that you're helping to make them, and I can do, as I did at S, and I can do votes and things for, you know, games to be covered, you know, to find out what you want covered the soonest, and I did that with the votes from Essen, I think, hopefully, and also games to pick up as well. Like that could have been a vote before Essen as well to decide which games I picked up. So yeah, it's all very much up in the air and nebulous at the moment. You know, nothing is going forward with it, but I would like to kind of hear your thoughts on it, you know, whether in the comments, or did I mention that there's a guild? I don't know if I mentioned that there's a guild. I made a guild anyway, just mainly for if I do need somewhere to have votes, rather than whatever website it was I used last time, I could just have them on that guild. I could make a thread and you can go there. So I'll put a link in the description or maybe on the screen for the guild. So you can go over to there, let me know what you think over there, or you can do it in the comments if you'd like. Yeah, I'd just like to know thoughts about it, because yeah, it's nothing is really happening with it, but I'm starting to seriously consider it, especially as things like the UK Games Expo comes up and, you know, Essen rapidly approaches again. I would love to be able to go to Essen again. Hopefully I can do that anyway, but if I did manage to go to Essen again, I certainly wouldn't be able to bring back anywhere near the number of games that I brought back last time. And I would love to be able to do the channel the way that I was doing it. You know, it was great fun. You know, rapidly, it was stressful, but it was really fun. You know, rapidly trying to learn the Colonists and A Feast for Odin, and try and get those videos out to people who were, as those games came into distribution, people wanted to know, you know, whether they were worth picking up, and it was great to be able to, you know, be there right at the beginning to be putting these videos out. So yeah, there are a bunch of links to click on of new things that are going on, geek lists, guilds and things. The anniversary of the channel is tomorrow, hopefully, and yeah, let's look forward to another year of it, hopefully. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you for the next video. Bye!